I'm excited to welcome my next guest to Great Dane Nation. PFT has been a friend and a client of mine, and we'll talk about that a little bit. He's part of a duo at Pardon My Take with Big Cat and, of course, with Hank, the producer. Wildly successful, Pardon My Take. Millions of listeners, cult following. I don't even know if that's the right word because they're so mainstream now too. They're everywhere. They're one of the most successful podcasts in the world, and it's been fun. I've had an opportunity to be on Pardon My Take a couple of times. Really enjoyed it. So I want to welcome to Great Dane Nation, PFT. How are we doing, and how do you like my shades, brother?
I think you look awesome. That should be like a full-time look for you. We always talk about how there aren't any quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl wearing a visor. It's just never happened. You've had a couple instances where a quarterback in the past has worn a visor, but then after they take it off, they end up winning the Super Bowl. I don't think we've ever seen a Super Bowl winning kicker wearing a visor, a reflective visor. I would actually like to see that, though. I feel like that's going to happen in the next like 5 to 10 years. You'll see some really swaggy kicker come out there with the reflective face shield like that. It looks good on you, though.
It's almost like welding glasses. They're actually they're sweet to look out of because, and if they look sweet from the other side, I'm a mission accomplished. I'm doing it in honor of you, of course. That's part of your look, PFT, your sunglasses. So I'm gonna drop them off because I don't want to step on your territory. You know what I'm saying?
There are those, yeah. You got to watch your size too. You don't want to.
So do you, by the way. And I'm not trying to bromance right here, but I've seen your eyes up close. I mean, from a distance, 6 feet. But I do feel like you got good looking eyes, and I know that it's part of the look for you, the glasses. How did that come about? Is that something you just kind of fell into, or can you tell me a story about your glasses and why you're going with that look?
Yeah, it's just like I'm the total package, right? So I'm, perfectly average height. I'm built like a brick shit house. I'm incredibly fast, strong, intelligent, and I've got great eyes. So I had to take one of those things away. So I couldn't just be, I'd be too intimidating if everybody was able to look into these baby blues. But no, the real story is like I used to be completely anonymous. Nobody knew who I was whatsoever. I was just a writer on the internet. I wasn't even doing a podcast at this point. And I went to Cleveland, Ohio, and they were doing the presidential debates out there back in 2016, I think. And so I saw that they had MSNBC or Fox News or one of those cable channels set up. I went behind the TV shot holding up a sign that said, "Is Joe Flacco an elite quarterback?" And I was wearing shades at the time. People figured out that was me. I didn't tell anybody that was me, but they figured it out because I used to just always talk about Joe Flacco back in the day. And that kind of just became a way for me to be anonymous still, but also have my face out there when I had to. So it was never my plan to ever show my face. Even when I went to Barstool, I was like, Big Cat Hank, if you guys are recording something like on video, just don't put my face on it. Because I always thought it was funnier if people didn't know what I looked like. If people, there was like a little bit of that element of mystery to it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I quickly learned that at Barstool, there's absolutely no way to stay out of the focus of the camera. And even to this day, it's kind of a pain in the ass for the people that I work with at times. If they're just like taping something on their phones around the office, they always have to like make sure or keep an eye out for me walking by in the background without my shades on. Because I don't wear them 24/7. I take them off occasionally at the office, just to like give my eyes a little bit of vitamin D, just like get a little bit of light into there, because I'm sure that my eyesight's gotten worse over the years. But it's something that in retrospect really made my life a little bit more complicated and a little bit more complicated for the people around me. But at this point, it's like it's almost gone too far, where I think people there have been a couple of times when people have slipped up and taken a picture of me. Like Frank the Tank did that last week, and people are like mad to see my eyes.
Because you're not wearing the shades.
Yeah, they get mad about it, and they're like, I didn't want to see this. So I kind of feel like a little bit of responsibility to them to keep them on. But yeah,
it'd be like seeing me naked or something. Like people don't want to see that either.
Absolutely, but yeah, maybe 30 years ago. But
yeah, but now it's not a it's not a great look. I mean, it's not a horrible puke look, but it's it's right there. It's teetering on indecency. You know what I mean? It's like, so you taking your glasses off, people feel like, and that's like his twin brother, right? Or, you know.
Yeah. It's weird.
That
Were you
guy,
like
that guy, you
back
know?
when you played in the league, were you ever like a sex symbol in Denmark? Were you
Not in
did they
Denmark,
ask
but
you
in
to
New
pose in
Orleans.
magazines?
Well, in New Orleans, I was in New Orleans, you know. I was in New Orleans. I had one of the bachelors of the year, and I did have a poster. I thought I sent you that, man. I'll send you.
Yeah, no, I have seen it now that you mention it. Yeah, that is
Like in a
that
mesh,
is
like a black mesh shirt with the midriff showing, which is back in the 80s. You know, you could get away with that. Flock of Seagulls, Duran Duran, that kind of look. But in 2021, when you're 61, not so much, I don't think.
I don't know.
But
Were you able to get away with it? Like when that picture came out, were your teammates
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah,
"Hey,
they
what the
gave me a
hell?"
lot of shit. They gave me a lot of shit for that, for sure. I mean, have you ever had like a poster done of you with, you know, in some compromising position or look?
In fishnets? No, not to my knowledge. I don't think there are any posters out there that look like that. There was actually a calendar that came out, a Barstool calendar that came out last year, I think. And in that one,
Mhm.
we're just all wearing jumpsuits. And I think my tracksuit is like unzipped all the way down to my belly button, my chest hair is poking out. But
No.
nothing in any sort of see-through garment. And it's
Yeah.
actually my contract that we have to keep it that way.
I think that's a wise move, and you should definitely applaud your lawyer for putting that clause in there, because it just protects the brand. You know what I'm saying? It really does. Hey, I had a great time with you being your coach, and I just want to make sure that you haven't cheated on me. You know, does Washington D.C. still owns your rights? Is that right?
As far as I know, they own my rights. They're teaming up with the CFL, right? The XFL and the CFL are doing some sort of joint partnership.
Yeah.
I
So
don't.
where's that going? I mean, where's our kicking? Because you flew to Atlanta. We had a great time. We shot some stuff for Pardon My Take, or for Barstool, and you know, I was semi impressed. That's the biggest compliment I can give you. I can't give you a full. Oh, he blew me away, because you didn't. But I was semi impressed with your physical. You looked decent in shorts and a t-shirt. I don't know how you would have looked. I mean, you had a helmet on. That was cool. Your ball striking was average, but you got better. I mean, you were a very willing student. How did you feel I was an okay coach, or
Yeah,
do you want to move on? Am I still your guy?
yeah. You were a great coach. I think more than anything because I did have like a small background in kicking. I hadn't done it in a while, so once I got out there with you and I got a few reps in, I started to feel like a little bit more comfortable in terms of where I was striking the ball and all that. So I settled in a little bit. But more than anything, I think what you taught me was the mental aspect to it. Because I've always said that the top probably 200 place kickers in the United States right now are all comparable physically in terms of how far they can hit a ball. And when they practice, you know, their accuracy is generally really, really good. But what separates the top like 10 from the rest of the top 200 is the mental toughness and having that mindset where you can go up and you can repeat it under pressure. I think that you always told me stepping onto the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Because I was going to
most
test you. I want to see what kind of retention you have. So some of the things I gave you, some of the statements I gave you, I want to make sure that you have committed those to memory. So if I say, I want you to aim for the middle, why?
The middle never changes.
Thank you. Beautiful. You cannot ice.
Ice. That's a good one.
Right. Luck favors the exceptionally.
Luck favors
the exceptionally. Starts with
well
a P.
prepared.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
That's right. The harder you work, the luckier you
get.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty.
Yeah. You set that one up for me.
I pretty much set that one up for you. All right. So
what about this one? There are two things that you can control. What are those?
Ooh, what are they? You tell me. I know what they are.
They're my attitude and my preparation.
Effort.
Is that it? Effort. Shit.
Effort and attitude. Everything else is 2 words. Everything else is what?
Bullshit.
Well, that's 1 word again. Is that 2 words?
I guess
white noise. White noise is
white
the
noise.
correct
Okay,
answer. Yeah, white
that's
noise.
that's the subtitle for a part of my take.
Yeah, and also when you're grinding like 2-a-days, we call that the world of.
The world of suck.
Yeah, the world of suck. It's a military term from basic training that the Navy SEALs and all the special ops used to use. The world of suck. Good job. Hey, man, I think you passed the audition on that.
Yeah, so that last one I didn't even remember, but it just sounded like the word suck fit in well there. So that one was almost improv. I'm glad it fit in. But the one thing that I remember the most about the mental preparation is you told me everything that you do once you get onto the football field should be directed towards the middle of the upright. Like every motion that you take as much as possible.
Down the target line. Yeah.
Right down that line. So even when I run out onto the field to attempt a field goal, run out to the middle of the field and then run straight down the target line when you're going up to the ball. So don't go on the diagonal.
Right. Don't want to come in and then you're crowded. You want to see everything big, and then you want to narrow the focus. And you got to own the work. You got to own that area. That area where the ball's put down. I called it something. Do you remember the word? You must own your
space.
Workbench.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot that one.
The workbench.
Yeah, that was your workbench, and everything that happened in that little zone, that was yours. You tell the guy, you tell the holder exactly where to put it. Yeah.
Yes.
So that to me, it's the mindset of like going everything that you do, every motion that you make, every glance that you put out there should be directed in that tunnel of the uprights, because the middle never changes, and it adds like a small element of feeling like that's your only mission. That's your home almost. And so if everything that you do is in that
womb, if you really want to go back to like, when you were born, it's like your womb. It's an egg. It's like its own little solar system. Mm-hmm. And you kind of, and you're like a moon that circulates, or like, not even a moon. You're actually like the Mars man that crushes in that universe.
I mean, you could say like, that's the womb, that's the egg, and then the ball is the sperm.
And you're delivering the sperm down the target line to the uterus.
You're just the big dick that's hitting that sperm into the egg when you step up there, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, wow. I mean,
that was an analogy I never even thought was I didn't think we were going to get there, but somehow through this therapy, we got there.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that.
It was a lot of the small stuff like that actually made me more comfortable in being able to do the same thing over and over again. And like, you're right when you say, like, I wasn't impressive, but I was more impressive than you thought that I might be.
Yeah.
I was able to, I think, maximize the little talent that I had. And I think, honestly, like, if I put my heart and soul into it and trained for a year, I'd probably be able to get back up to like 47 yards, 48 yards, and be a decent like recreational kicker. By no means am I anywhere in the solar system or the universe to actually be able to make a professional football team on my own, obviously. But it's one of those things where I still like going out and kicking footballs, just like some people like going out.
Satisfying. It's so satisfying.
Yeah, you go out there, it's like a driving range.
The sound, like, like sound when you hit it pure and you see it fly vertically down the target line. I mean, it's almost it's better than sex, man. It's good.
It is sex.
It lasts longer.
Yeah, it certainly does. But I think it's one of those things that I'm probably going to continue to do for the next, until my legs totally give out on me. Just because it's fun, it's therapeutic.
I'm here for you, man. And if you want to give the XFL, have you talked to The Rock at all about giving it a shot again? The Rock's part of that XFL.
Yeah, I think The Rock is he probably doesn't know who I am, but that's not going to stop me from harassing him online and continuing to beg him for a job.
Yeah.
So I'll keep going down that route. I mean, it is still my dream to one day kick a football in a professional game, and I think that the XFL is probably the only place that's going to be dumb enough to let me do it. So I'm going to latch onto that dream at least for another couple years.
Feel free to drop my name if that somehow can help. You should
for sure.
absolutely drop it shamelessly if you need to. PFT, I know you're a huge DC fan, and you got great hair, okay? And I know you've come out and said that if Ryan Fitzpatrick wins a playoff game this year, you're gonna go into a hair salon and cut your hair. Is that you're standing by that? And will that
standing
happen?
by that?
Will that happen?
I think it might. I don't know, because every year a different team wins the NFC East. I don't think they've had a repeat champion since 2005, 2006, which is crazy in this day and age. They keep switching on and off. So the Washington football team is typically on a schedule of being halfway decent once every 7 years. So it might be a long wait for me since we just got to the playoffs last year. But I'm fully prepared to do it. I think that if anybody can do it, it's probably Fitzpatrick, just because, I don't know. Yeah, he'll go out there and he's either going to throw 5 interceptions or 5 touchdowns.
It's magic. It's magic.
Yeah, it's incredible. So I'm really excited about the season, not because I think that we're going to win 11 or 12 games, but because every game where Ryan Fitzpatrick is playing, I get to watch him every single Sunday and root for him. And that's fun. There's always going to be some entertainment going on there. So I think it's possible. I do have an appointment set at Sport Clips right now.
Yeah.
That first Monday after Wild Card Weekend. So if it gets done, then I'll be more than happy to cut these off and send them to, I don't know, who's a good bald person.
Locks for love, locks for love, or something like that. I think for kids with cancer.
Yeah, I was going to say Scott Van Pelt, but that's a better idea. So I'll send it to.
I would go locks for love. I think would be a great fit for those locks. You have some. I mean, we could probably get a mullet out of it, so we can get some kid somewhere in Minnesota, wearing that and maybe like a mullet, get a little Tennessee waterfalls going. I'm willing to cut some of mine, and we patch that in the front and get your stuff in the back. We'll make a nice wig out of it.
I love that. Yeah, we'll get a Minnesota.
The more the merrier, right? Yeah.
Yeah, send that there. I actually think that when I do cut it, I'm going to have to do it in stages because I would like to spend at least a week with a mullet of my own. So maybe
it's a good. I did 10 years in the 80s.
Yeah,
I highly recommend it.
Do you ever look back on that haircut and you're like, I should have grown this mullet longer? Because it
was pretty long.
How long did you get?
It was down to like mid back.
Oh wow.
Or below my shoulder. And it just got really scraggly. Like, you want to come in and trim the edges because it just my hair's thin as it is. And so when you do a mullet with thin hair, it can look really bad. And I went with, I wore a lot of headbands, kind of went with the eyeliner back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I think I'm going to need to do at least like a week, 2 weeks with a mullet before I cut the entire thing off. I'll have to do it in stages because that's something that I would like to experience in my adult life at least once. I actually had 2 mullets when I was growing up. But this is back like way before mullets were even a cool thing. They kind of went out of fashion a little bit in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. But I still had one back then. My parents made me cut it off. I didn't even know that I had a mullet. My mom was just like, your hair looks like shit. And I was like, Mom, I like it. I look like a relief pitcher. And she was like, no, we're taking you into the hair cutter and we're lopping that thing off. So it'd be nice to have it as an adult.
I think maybe a training mullet. Start with a little mini mullet. You know how kids have like the diapers or the training wheels on their bikes? We can do that with a mullet. So you slowly get used to. So we start with a small mullet and then you graduate to the big league relief pitcher mullet. Although it sounds like you've already had that. So maybe you don't even need the training stages. Yeah.
I think I just go to Sport Clips after Fitzpatrick wins that game, and I say, give me like a number 5 everywhere except for the back, and then
that's ballsy.
Have that thing going down. Yeah,
that's strong. Tell me about you were with the Capitals when they won the Stanley Cup. By the way, there's a Danish guy that scored the winning goal for the Caps back when they won a couple of years ago. But there's a story of you and a picture of you. I've seen it. Unfortunately, it's only waist up. You're drinking from the cup, but you had some cool pants on. I want you to, will you divulge to me on Great Dane Nation right now what those pants look like? Do we have a picture of that?
I do not have a picture, unfortunately. I'll tell you exactly what happened though. I was hanging out with some friends who happened to know some of the players on the team right after the game, and we were in one of their hotel rooms having some champagne, drinking some beers, and then they were going to go out to the club, and they're like, PFT, we're going to Hakkasan at the MGM. Come with us. It's the official team party. And I was like, obviously, yes, I would love to. The only catch was I'm wearing shorts because it's June in Las Vegas. So I've got shorts on, and we go to the club. Everybody around me gets in, and the guy's like, "You're wearing shorts. I can't let you in." And I was like, "Come on, man, you got to let me in. Like, I'm here with the team." He's like, "There's this hard and fast rule. Even the players can't get in unless they're wearing pants." And I just, like, my heart sank, and so I went into problem solving mode. I'm in the MGM. They have a gift shop. It's about, I'd say, 11 o'clock, midnight, something like that. I run through the hotel lobby and almost run into Alexander Ovechkin, by the way, when I'm running to the gift shop. He's coming around the corner on the casino floor holding the Stanley Cup, mind you, just walking, singing to himself in Russian, surrounded by probably 36 people taking pictures of him. He doesn't have a care in the world. He's just like screaming at the top of his lungs, walking with a Stanley Cup. It was incredible. So I almost get flattened by him and the mob that's around him as I turn a corner. But I go to the gift shop, and they have one pair of pants left in the gift shop. They're khakis. They're I want to say maybe a size 44, 46 waist.
Oh, and what are you, 32?
I'm about a 32, 34, depending on how drunk I am. And so I
loaded from the beers. Yeah,
exactly. So I end up putting these pants on. The person was like, "Do you want to try them on?" I was like, "There's really no use in me trying them on. Like, I know they're going to look ridiculous. I just need a pair of pants to get into this club." So I just put them on over my shorts, I don't even think I take my shoes off. And I pay for them. I think they were like $85 or something like that.
Hey, whatever.
Not bad. Not bad. It was the price of a ticket, essentially. So
yeah.
I go back to the club, and I'm holding my pants up the entire time with one hand, because if I take my hand off my waist, they're just going to fall down. They're going to fall into the ground around my ankles. So I end up getting into the club. Somehow they believe me after I get in there, where I'm like, I'm supposed to be with the team. And they take me behind the DJ booth where, like, I think Chesto was playing a DJ set there. So it's me and probably, I don't know, 100 other people, 150 other people back there. And the entire time I'm holding up these pants with one hand. I've got my finger through the belt loop. The pants legs on there weren't egregiously big. They weren't like Jinko khakis. They were definitely baggy. They were super baggy, but it was the waist that was just unmanageable.
Brutal.
So unmanageable, in fact, that because I kept holding them up with my finger, the belt loop broke on them. So then I've got to like hold them up by the back the whole time. I actually thought I was getting kicked out when the security guard comes over and he like flashes his flashlight in my face. And to me, that's the universal sign. It's happened to me more than once. I'm no stranger to that situation.
I've been there too, man.
I started getting ready to do the old perp walk towards the door. And the guy taps me on my shoulder, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to go over to that security guard down there." And I'm like, "Okay." So I go to that guy, and then he flashes his flashlight at a different security guard, and his security guard like flashes back to him. He's like, "Go down to that guy." They passed me through like 4 or 5 different security guards, and I realized they're leading me closer.
Levels to the Holy Grail.
They're leading me closer to the Stanley Cup one by one.
Oh.
And I see it. It's filled up with, I think it's filled with Bud Light or Coors Light or some sort of light beer. And all around the cup, it's like Tom Wilson, Alex Ovechkin, Lars Eller, Smith Pelly.
My man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Danish guy. Danish hockey player, bro. Lars Eller.
Yeah. I actually think that I was in his hotel before we went down to the club. I think that was his hotel room that we were in. He's a very, very cool guy. So I go to the Stanley Cup, and then
how nervous are you? How nervous are you?
Well, pretty nervous.
Or were you just like soaking it up?
I didn't think that anybody. I frequently find myself, my entire life more is basically spent in situations that I feel like I should not be in. Like this is not happening to me. Like this is not my life. Like what am I doing hanging out next to the Stanley Cup? That's how I spend most of my life, feeling kind of uncomfortable. Like I'm about to get kicked out of my own life. And so I guess I'm comfortable being uncomfortable in that way a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I walked up next to the cup, and this guy next to me, I still to this day don't know who the guy was, but he was with the team in some capacity. He was like, PFT, you want to drink out of it? And I was like,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to say yes before somebody else realizes what's happening here and tells me not to.
Correct.
So I hand my phone to one person that's standing near me. I had the presence of mind to do that because I needed the picture, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I lifted up. That sucker's heavy, by the way.
Yeah, I've lifted it. I've had it with Mario Lemieux. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
heavy.
Yeah, especially when you fill it with probably, I don't know, a dozen Coors Lights. And so I'm sipping out of it. And in the picture that got taken, it's pretty funny because you can see Dmitry Orlov, one of the players on the team. He's like the only face that's easily recognizable. He's standing behind me, and he's giving me this look like, who the fuck is this guy drinking out of my Stanley Cup? It's the night they just won it. I don't blame him at all for thinking that, because like if I just won a Stanley Cup, I would be very protective of who got to hang out with it. So I drink, I put it down, and I'm like, I can't believe that actually just happened. And then I make my way back to the table that I was originally at, but it was
was it a quick exit strategy? In other words, to kick your ass out right away, or was it, hey man, PFT, everybody, nothing like that?
No, I hung out around the cup for a little bit, but it was clearly like almost the it was the A-listers of the Washington Capitals. It was basically players only and some of their wives and girlfriends. And so I've also learned, make yourself scarce when you're in those situations. Like a lot of times people, if they get a chance to be in a place like that, they want to soak it in and take advantage of it. But I think long-term, like one thing I think that Big Cat and I are pretty good at, which is why a lot of players trust us, and they're eager to come on our show, and some, will come back on many, many times. We kind of know our place a little bit, where it's like, okay, if it's like a team situation, don't make it about yourself. Like, let them do their thing. If you make yourself scarce, people will be fine with that. And, it's always better to be like a little bit more wanted than it is to be overstaying your welcome. So I got out of there pretty quickly. Hung out, like still in the team area, but hung out with some other friends there for another few hours. And then I think it was Tom Wilson's brother or somebody's brother came up to me and was like, hey, who do you know here, man? You got to go at like 2:30. And then I just told him like who invited me. And I thought I was going to get kicked out. But the fact that he came over and was even like, who do you know here? I was like, maybe this is that moment where it should be more about the players here, and I should get out. So then I went and played blackjack for another 2.5 hours. That was fun.
Sounds like an amazing night for you. And, I want to talk about you and Big Cat, because I do think you do a great job. And like I said in the beginning, I was on the show for a couple of times. Actually, Sebastian and I walked off the street in Manhattan. It was literally a walk-in almost. I don't know if you remember the first time. I think Sebastian texted the show or texted you, had gotten a hold of your mobile phone number. And that's kind of what I love about the show, is that you guys are willing to, first of all, is this really, is Sebastian full of shit? Is this really his dad, right? So that was the first thing. But trusting that thing, and then just going with it and doing a show that was completely unexpected for me too. But I was like, Sebastian had been talking about, pardon my take, we're in Manhattan, we're going to a Yankees game, we're doing a couple of father-son things. I go, why not? Why shouldn't we give that a shot, And then the fact that you guys were just willing to go with it. And it was I thought it was an amazing 30 minutes, with you guys, until the Ray Allen quote. Didn't like the exit on that. That was a little sneaky.
We had to do it. I mean, you do have a legendary voiceover voice, so we had to get you narrating as many offensive things as possible. So no, that was beyond our. People would have gotten mad at us if we didn't do that. But you're right, there was like a little moment where I was like, is this really Morten Andersen's son, or am I being pranked? Because you never know. We've been pranked before.
Yeah.
Like we had, I think it was a few years ago, somebody pretended to be Mike Leach, and came on our show, called into our show. And then another time somebody set us up with an interview in Vegas with Evander Holyfield when we were out there. And then we just waited in our hotel room for like 2 hours, and he didn't show up. And then we found out later that it wasn't actually his people. So
I love your Blake of the Year thing. Who's got the inside track this year for Blake of the Year? I know I'm not part of that conversation, but that's fine. I mean, I'm a little disappointed, but I guess I haven't been on the show. I haven't shown Blake flex. It's got to be. I mean, Bortles, I like. He's got a chance, but again, Blake Griffin, he's still balling. And then you got Brooks. Koepka.
No offense, you are not a Blake. You're not a Blake, and it's not a bad thing. A Blake is a very specific type of personality, which is why Brooks, even though his name is Brooks, he's been accepted as a Blake because he's just the Blake of golf. A Blake is like a very relaxed,
doesn't care.
Yeah, who cares type guy. You're not a Blake.
I'm too organized.
You're too intense. You're too intense, and that's an issue for Blakes. So I think, honestly, Brooks Koepka right now has the inside track. The trolling that he's been doing on Bryson DeChambeau, is incredible. When Bryson fired his caddy before the tournament started, and then just an hour later, Brooks tweeted out, "It's Caddy Appreciation Day. Here's my best friend." He's so great at it.
I want to see the two of them paired up. It's got to happen.
It'd be great. I think Brooks would just mentally dominate him because Brooks actually doesn't care. He has the ability to just like lock in on whatever's going on. Bryson cares very much about what everybody says about him. So Bryson would be thinking about this matchup. Brooks might make like a comment or two during the round, but it would just be things that naturally occurred to him off the top of his head. He wouldn't be like thinking about how he's going to make fun of Bryson the entire time. Bryson would have things planned out. He would have things like lines ready to say. He'd always be, wondering, what did Brooks just say? Was that about me? Like he's too much in his own head. So I think right now, to answer your question, I think physically Blake Griffin, he's dominant. The run that he's been on in terms of Blakeness and picking up his phone, which is how we judge Blake of the Year, is who answers the phone call the fastest. He's been on an incredible run. He trains for it. He's like ready to go. Brooks, the problem with Brooks is he might be too much of a Blake to ever win Blake of the Year because he's too relaxed to like have his phone on his person all the time. So I don't know. I think that Blake Koepka has a good shot this year. I think Blake Bortles, Big Cat's going to find a way to sabotage Blake Bortles because he plays on the Packers now. And so I think Big Cat will see to it that he does not win.
I love it. You guys are on a hell of a run. I got a name game, if you don't mind, that we will just finish with. And before I do that, though, the Washington football team, what should be the name of the Washington football team? Should it be that, or do you have a good name?
I kind of like the football team. It's growing on me a little bit, just because at this point, I'm starting to look at other teams like the Eagles or the Cowboys, and it's like, oh, you need a mascot, you need a little logo, you need a furry little animal running around to make you feel happy about going to watch sports. We don't need any of that. We're not candy asses. We're a football team. We play football. Football is our mascot, and so it's given me like that little like mental edge over other fan bases. But I think Red Wolves would still be cool for me. I would be happy with Red Wolves. I like the idea of having some sort of a dog or wolf mascot. I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. You can release Red Wolves onto the field before games, which would be cool. Have them take a piss on the opponent's sideline. I think that there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do when you incorporate a dog or a wolf mascot. But I would be fine, honestly, with football team. It's like such a bad, plain team name with such a ridiculous history behind how it became that name that I actually kind of like it in a weird way. It's perfect for the team.
Before I go into the name game, PFT, who's been the shittiest guest on Pardon My Take? I mean, please don't say me, but who's been the shittiest? Is it Marino? Who is it?
That was funny. People like that, by the way, when you came on the show the first time and you said something along the lines of like, I hope that I'm a good guest, unlike some others, Marino. People love it. People love it when a guest comes on and they've either heard the show or they've been prepared as to
Oh
what
yeah,
the show is about. People
yeah.
love that stuff. So that was
I'm
funny.
a fan, bro. I'm a fan. I listen
think
to you. Yeah.
Look, Mark Titus came on one time from Fox Sports, and he said some pretty offensive, outrageous stuff. So we had to ban him for a year. So I'd say for a while he was the worst guest. But then, Dan Marino was just he was not happy to be there at all. You could see in his eyes he was like, "This is beneath me to be in the back seat of a van with fat Freddie Mercury."
It's
and
so
Joe
good.
Dirt.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would have loved that, man. I could just make the stench in there, right? He was probably reviled about the smell.
It's actually a good interview strategy to have because the people that don't like being in that situation are people that we would not get along with anyways. So it really draws a line in the sand there, and we can tell pretty quickly if we're going to be able to get along with you. Some of our best friendships have been made in the backseats of vans.
Hey-o.
There's a quote. I didn't even think about that before I said it.
Aim for the middle because it never changes. And some of the best friendships have been made in the back of vans. I like it. And we combine those two somehow and make it a really inappropriate quote. Let's not do that.
Yeah. I think the internet will do a good enough job on its own.
I think so too. All right, name game, brother. You ready? I'm going to throw a name at you. Whatever comes to mind right away. Doesn't have to be a big, long diatribe. It can be one word or it can be a sentence. Big cat.
Talented.
Dave Portnoy.
The boss.
Yeah, no doubt. Hank Lockwood.
Handsome.
Okay. Hank. Scoring brownie points with Hank right there.
It's about to be the summer of Hank. He's newly single, ladies. So
I heard about
those
that.
DMs. Yeah, he's getting
I'm sure
abs.
You got a strategy for him? Get abs?
Yeah, well, he's gonna get abs, and it's gonna be the summer of Hank. In all seriousness, like a lot of people like to make fun of Hank and be like, all you do is press record, and then you sit back.
Oh, he's good.
There's a lot more to it. Hank presses record and he presses stop at the end of episodes. So a true jack of all trades.
Hey, Billy, go ahead.
Honestly, Hank is enormously talented.
I agree.
One of the smartest people that I've ever met in my life, and you wouldn't know it from the way that he pronounces some words, because like he is kind of like the visionary behind every new thing that we do at Part of My Take. A lot of times he'll have a concept and he'll tell us to do stuff, and we'll do it because we trust him. And in the moment we feel stupid or like it's not going to work, and then he makes it end up working well. Hank is one of the most talented people that I've ever worked with in my life, and he's super, super smart. So he does actually contribute a ton to Part of My Take.
I kind of feel like he's big picture guy, where you guys are in the weeds a lot and trying to make, he's trying to make sense of the mess that you guys, the SpaghettiOs that you guys are just throwing around there, and cleaning off the walls, and then making this beautiful kaleidoscope that's Part of My Take. What do you think about that analogy?
That's great. I like the kaleidoscope idea. I think Hank is absolutely a big picture guy.
Yeah.
And sometimes he has to bite his lip, because there are times when me and Big Cat have just terrible ideas, about something, and we'll just go off on some wild tangent, and Hank will just give us this look like, you guys are morons, and this is never going to work. So a big part of his job is also knowing when to just like let us burn ourselves out on our own bad idea and not step in. And then other times, when he does have to let us know to keep things moving. But Hank is he's a great dude and really, really talented.
Yeah, he's standing there with a remote control, and you guys are two rocket ships, and eventually you're going to run out of fuel, and he knows that. And you don't necessarily know that because you still have fuel. So as long as you have fuel, you're gonna be morons, and then sooner or later it sputters to a complete stop, and Hank stands in the corner and goes, "I told you so."
Yep.
Beautiful.
He's great at that.
Yeah, I love that. Billy Football.
There's like 7 words that I wanted to say that I'm not going to say because he's back and he's trying to put in a lot of work. I'm going to say curious. Billy is the most curious person that we have that's working for us. Now, a lot of times the curiosity can get him in trouble. Like sometimes he's curious how much he can lie to us and get away with. Other times he's just curious, like what's the most attractive frog. So his curiosity is not always an asset, but
What's
it's good
the
to
most
have.
attractive frog? I like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's got some issues, but he's super curious. Which anytime you work with somebody that has like that naiveness or that curiosity, it can be a great thing because they get to learn as they go through their own curiosity, and you get to kind of go on that journey with them as they're learning about something. And sometimes they can end up being woefully misinformed based on whatever information sources they're reading. But it's fun to like go through that process of learning things alongside of Billy. And when he's on macro dosing with me, you get to see like a different side of him where he's talking about stuff that he has already done research into that he cares about. And Billy can be really smart when he applies himself, for sure. And other times he can be like the dumbest person in any room. So Billy, he's also a great coworker, and he's doing great since he got back.
Awesome. Skip Bayless.
Legend, the GOAT, the king, daddy. I will call Skip Bayless daddy because there is nobody that's ever done it like Skip. Probably nobody that will ever do it like Skip. But the takes that he comes out with are just, they're so next level. He's almost impossible to satirize or parody because he's always one step ahead of me when I'm trying to satirize a take that he might have. And he'll lay out little traps for himself too. He'll say things like, I remember it was the 1-game playoff or 2-game playoff between the Warriors and the Lakers to get into the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
and Skip was Skip was like, you know what? I think that this is the year that LeBron James really puts the team on his back, and they should go out and win this game no problem by at least 20 points. And at the time, I was like, wow, this is crazy. Skip is giving credit to LeBron. You'll never see that happen again, until I realized what he was doing was setting himself up so that when the Lakers only won by 11 points, Skip could be like, this team is underachieving again. They should have blown out this Warriors team by at least 20 points, like I said, but instead they only won by 11, which is exactly what happened. And then that's the take that he went down. So he is he's always thinking one step ahead of everybody else. Just a legend.
Scott Van Pelt.
Peter North.
Okay.
When he was in the van in Barstool Van Talk, we showed him. I think we played. What was the game? It was something like Name That Peter, and then we had like Peter King. We had a bunch of other ones, and then we just showed him a picture of Peter North naked, and then he almost got out of the van. That's probably the real reason why our show only lasted for a week on ESPN. Not because of all the other stuff. It was probably like Scott told Norby or Scott told John Skipper, like, hey, listen, we can say it's for all the reasons that you want to say about Dave Portnoy, but in reality, we can't have two assholes showing me pornography in the backseat of a van on our airwaves. He's like, I got paid too much money for this.
Yeah, no, that's probably makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Hank didn't chime in there. He was probably pretty quiet on this one.
Yeah, that was one of the ideas where Hank is like, I've tried to tell them.
You guys are going down a rabbit hole, and this is not good.
To his credit, though, he did tell us not to light Dan Patrick on fire in episode 2. So that was that was a good job of reining us in.
Bill Simmons.
Pearl Jam. We go. Actually, no. I'm going to go Gaming the System. And Bill Simmons is his podcast it's fine. I was never really like a Bill Simmons fan. I'd always like kind of read him occasionally. I didn't like hate him or have any animosity towards him. Still don't. I think he's a really talented guy. But I've noticed in the last like 2 months when he puts out his podcast, he's dropping it in multiple episodes per episode, if that makes sense, multiple parts. Yeah. So he'll do like a 2-part episode on a random Thursday or whatever. And he's doing that just to get to the top of the charts. I think Spotify might be putting a little pressure on him because they just put all that money into Call Her Daddy, so they're trying to make it up in other places if they can. But yeah, it's always funny when people divvy up the episode like that, and then they'll be like, "Hey, we're above part of my take." It's like, no, you just have multiple episodes that people need to download. So at the end of the day, like everyone knows like where the rankings end up shaking out. But it's funny to see him do that because he was a person that said that he would never do that, and now he is.
Ryen Russillo. I don't know if I said that name right. Russillo?
Yeah, no, you nailed it. I'm going to go beta male.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryen, I've heard that he doesn't even work out anymore. He built a squat rack in his own garage, and that thing's collecting cobwebs. So, and it's nothing that I won't say to Ryan's face when he comes on the show next Thursday, but he knows that he's been lacking in some gains. He pulled a great move the other week, and he posted a picture of himself on Instagram, like mid jump shot, where I don't think there was a hoop out there, actually. I think he was just standing on asphalt and had his friend take a picture of him when he was in midair doing like the jump shot for him. And he posted that on Instagram with a caption like, just unloading some old pictures that I had on my phone. That's such a perfect thing that people do say about Instagram, is like, oh, I didn't want to post this on Instagram, but I had to get it off my phone. I was running low on memory. So here's 5 thirst traps of myself that I conveniently posted. So I'll bring that up to him too. But Ryan's like a really, really funny guy. And it actually, like, don't tell him that I said this, but he is one of the most knowledgeable people in the world, I think, about basketball. Basketball.
He's going to hear it if you listen to GGN. He's going to hear it. You just
don't tell Ryan that. Use the part about me calling him a beta male and saying that it doesn't work out anymore.
We'll cut the rest out. That's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. We talked about Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, you got faith that's going to happen, and he's going to lead the Washington football team. Sounds like you're happy with Fitzmagic. We talked about Alex Ovechkin and almost crushing into the cup, and Alex in Vegas. Yeah. Let's go to Max Scherzer. Scherzer? Oh, did I say that right?
Yeah. Max Scherzer.
Scherzer,
Husky.
Yeah.
Husky but Husky eyes. He's got the one brown eye, the one blue eye, and he's just he's a psycho, man. He is like truly a psychopath, which I love in a pitcher because you don't see that too often anymore. Like somebody who's actually kind of a head case. He wants to embarrass you. He wants to almost kill you when he steps up onto the mound, and it's rare to have that in baseball. And he's been so much fun to watch. Like I consider myself extremely lucky that I've gotten to watch 10 years of Scherzer, like a lot of years of Scherzer, and then having so many like legendary nationals that have been there for a long time. Like you got Zimmerman, you've got Strasburg. Watching him pitch for the last decade plus has been amazing. I've been a little bit spoiled. I wish that we could have done a little bit more in the playoffs, but winning a World Series was a lot of fun. That postseason, at least, even if we've kind of flamed out every year besides that.
JJ Watt,
Captain America.
Oh man,
Captain
good.
America.
That's a good one. I like that. Here's another. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say JJ's actually become. I don't know if we call him a friend. I'd say that we're friendly with him, and it's funny because our relationship started out very much us just trolling him and making his life a living hell online because he was that Captain America type of guy. And you could tell that sometimes he wasn't being genuine about certain things and trying to fulfill whatever image that he was trying to put out there. And like as people grow up, they kind of become more comfortable with themselves. And we ended up feeling like assholes because we saw that JJ was actually he's a good person.
Yeah.
Who was just trying to figure out what his role was going to be as this mega star athlete. And over the years, he's become more comfortable with himself, I think, and we realized that he's a good dude. And so we've kind of pulled a reversal on him where I think we like JJ Watt now.
I wish I was playing still because I think I wouldn't mind getting trolled by, pardon my take, and by you guys. I think that'd be a lot of fun. That's almost like a huge compliment. I think that not only are you guys paying enough attention to someone's career to actually give it some credence and to actually troll, whether it's good or bad. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Like if I was out there and I would have, I got my pre-kick routine, but then I would have a celebration that'd be so over the top for a kicker, right? That it would be undeniable, and it would be like, what's he doing? I don't know what I would do, but I would do like something. I don't know, something that would be memorable, and then you guys would troll it, and there would be memes. Because back when I was playing, we didn't even have the internet in the beginning. There was nothing.
Right.
It was just
you doing? Was Was that a hula dance that you were doing there?
Yeah, well, maybe a grass skirt, maybe have a grass skirt and then whip it out.
Pop the hip, yeah.
And it would be Velcro, and you pop it on the uni, and then do a quick, and then that would be the meme, and that would be legendary. I mean, people are going to remember that game winner, right?
Yeah.
And here comes the hula skirt. I don't know.
See, that's what makes you an all Madden kicker, the only all Madden kicker in the history of the game, right? I think it's that mentality where you're like, I would like them to troll me because you've got that grit. You're a little mentally tough, but there's, I think, a lot of kickers out there that might not necessarily enjoy that.
It would fold, right? They would go, "Oh, he's exposing, weakness or something that's undesirable about me," which I think expose away. Go ahead, and then let's embrace it, and then could be therapy too for me. Anyway, I digress. My last name for you, buddy, Tom Brady.
Let's see, Tom Brady. I'm gonna go with strawberries. I think he actually eats all the stuff that he says that he doesn't eat. That's my theory about Tom Brady that I've been working on for a while. So there's a whole TB12 method where he doesn't eat strawberries, doesn't eat tomatoes. The list is pretty long. Doesn't eat refined sugars, allegedly. I think he eats all that stuff. I think that he just sets it up so that he's got like his. There you go. I love the shades. I think he sets it up so that
that is not an answer I had expected when I said Tom Brady. Most people say goat, and all these kind of boring things that everybody has talked about, but strawberries. That's why you guys are different. You guys are built differently. You sound differently. That's why you have millions of adoring fans who know that you guys are authentic, keep it real, and call it what it is. Tom Brady, strawberries.
Strawberries. I really do think that he puts a lot of stuff out there to make other, like his competition, be like, oh my God, this is what Tom Brady is doing. I have to do something crazy with my diet too. When in reality, he might not be doing like all those crazy things that he says that he is.
Hey, PFT, I've enjoyed it, brother. Go enjoy the beach. And hopefully I'll have Big Cat on soon as well. Get his take on the partnership, which I know is strong and going well, and you guys deserve it, man. You've come from nothing, really. Self-made, I love that, with persistency and talent and a little bit of luck probably too, which is all a beautiful gumbo, right? It's that's why we love New Orleans. That's why we just love self-made stories, and you're certainly the personification of a self-made guy who keeps it real, who's humble, and is funny as hell. I mean, I really enjoy your time, bro, and I'm here for you anytime you need me. PFT, thanks for being with me, brother.
Thank you for having me on. I will get in touch as soon as I know more details about the XFL, because I'm not ready to give up on my dream, and there's no coach that I would want by my side more than you. So thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Enjoy it, man. See you.
See ya.